Welcome to the Cold One with the Boys podcast, where we bring you new content creators every week. We are your hosts, Asen and Sick Nathan.
Sick Nathan. That would be the word of the day for sure. Hello.
Yeah, you sound like balls,
Oh, never mind.
like a scrotum sack.
I was going to say, you're about to hear what that sounds like, slapping against your face.
Huh!
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
This is episode 49, titled Cool Water Bidet Talk,
Gross.
with special guest Adam Schultz, host of the Water Cooler Talk podcast. We talk about his podcast, what it's about, favorite random news stories, bidets, and why they will change your life. I thought you were going to say something. I guess
I
not.
thought about it.
Go ahead, dude. Just tell people what's on your mind.
I mean, I might have to get one. He almost convinced me.
I've been convinced. It's just they're expensive.
He said it was only $29.99, dude.
I mean, I don't know how good that is, you know? I'd have to go over to his house and actually try it out.
That's weird. Don't even say that.
But if you get one, I'm definitely coming over to take a poop in your bathroom.
If I get a bidet, you won't get to use it, that's for sure. I don't want my bidet squirting up anybody else's butt.
Are you jealous?
Kind of. It'd be like, it's my kind of thing. Like, I wouldn't let you use my toothbrush.
Well, I wouldn't either.
I know. Well, I wouldn't let you use my bidet either.
It's not like my butthole's going to touch your bidet or something. Just the water from it. And we talk about 2019 goals. Not New Year's resolution.
New Year's resolution are for losers.
Goals. Anyway, we'll be bringing Adam back on in a few weeks because there's so much more that we could have talked about. So we'll be bringing him on in a few weeks. So I hope you guys enjoy this part 1. So let's sit back, relax, and open a cold one.
I just wanna crack that with that boys, no more baby mamas, no more kids to watch, cause I got babysitters. Now it's time for licking, come on, give it to me, cause it's my escape. Now it's time to annihilate, so my troubles all die away. I'm on a diet, Please do not try this, cause do not invite it. I'm dripping in go call the Midas. This night I was excited, it got me reignited. I've been waiting so long I can't fight it, but now I'm Mike Tyson inside, I'm on fire. It ain't nothing like a true bro. Brotherhood worth more than a huge blow. We're 2 hoes, 2 bags full of new clothes.
So you're on our first episode that we're actually in the same room, because up until now we've been in different states.
Okay, yeah, I know, Asen, you're from Seattle, right?
Right, and I just moved back to Oklahoma, and now we're gonna actually start building a studio. And right
Exciting.
now it is exciting, but right now we're in a makeshift room that's
There's blankets on the walls. I have blanket covering my window. I have a blanket covering my door. And then instead of having acoustic panels in the room, I have blankets hanging on the walls. So
Yeah,
it's super jank.
my first recording place was just it was TV dinner trays set
Oh,
up,
yeah.
and then just a blanket fort around, and dirty blankets I just found in my basement. And I just was inviting guests. I was like, come down to my basement until my blanket fort, and it'll be totally fine. We'll have a blast doing it. But now I have an actual nice studio in my basement, and I have a nice lamp to set the mood, and it's prime.
and then you lock them down there. It's all good.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's hey, come down to my soundproof basement. It's super dark down there. I promise you'll be safe.
Oh my God.
They go down there, it's pitch black. They just hear, what is that?
Just the violin noise from horror movies. Yeah, no, it's good. But yeah, that should be exciting to get an actual studio and to have actual guests into the studio.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't have very many people that are local that we could do local recordings with, because I mean, the premise of our show is anything content creator related, and most of the people, I don't know, Oklahoma doesn't seem like a severe hotspot for content creators.
I've been in Oklahoma once. I got a Whataburger, and that was about it.
We still live in teepees, so
Yeah.
I think we have one guy. He's a comedian, and I met him last year at a local stand-up comedy show. And he said next year when he comes back, he would love to do the podcast. I talked to him afterwards. So we're actually going to have him live with us here sometime in the middle of the year. So I've got to bust ass and get this room ready to do that.
Yeah, get it all set up. That would be nice.
Yeah, but I don't know. We're struggling back and forth determining whether we want to do like craft this room in my house into a studio or if we want to look outside and like find a small building to rent. And I can't figure out what I want to do yet.
Yeah, that's definitely I like having the basement studio because it's just like because I also record like voiceover stuff, so it's nice to just be able to go down into the basement, record something real quick, and just make it super easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that would be the convenience of it for sure. We'll just have to really look into acoustic paneling and getting this room to be real soundproof and nice. So we'll see where that goes. But the big goal for this year is to be live on Twitch, whether they're in the studio or not. Is
Yeah, I saw you guys have a lot of Twitch streamers on the show.
Yeah. I mean that's a big. We're huge gamers, so that's a lot of content creators that we bring on, and that's why we went on Reddit in the first place, is to kind of expand more into podcast hosts and other types of content creators than just Twitch streamers.
What kind of games are I listened to a previous episode where you guys were talking about the video game awards and stuff like that.
Okay,
what kind of games are you guys doing these days?
It's always switching up. Like right now, well, I just recently quit because I can't stand
Dude,
hackers.
are you seriously gonna quit? Like you're gonna give up again?
Yeah. CS:GO is what we were playing.
Got it. Okay.
Right now I'm kind of in between games. I've like a staple of mine is always Rocket League. That's a game I like to play.
Boring.
Wow.
So you guys are more into like the online
yes
games over the story games?
I like story games. It's just I like co-op too much. Like I like playing with friends. No matter how good a RPG can be, if I'm playing it alone, at some point I'm going to be like, well, I want to have some social interaction now. So I'm going to go ahead and save this and go hang out.
He has no real friends, so he has to find his friends
all
online
friends.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Like we're not friends. I don't know. We've probably discussed this in podcasts before. We're just podcast partners.
Just business. Just business.
It's pure business. Like
as soon as we get off the mic, I'm probably going to like punch him in the face or something.
That's why you want your podcast studio at a business, so you don't have to go
exactly.
over to his house.
Yeah.
I don't want him in my house. Like having the studio would just keep him 100 yards away from my house at all times and be glorious.
Then you have to actually keep up with the restraining order. Got it. No, but yeah, I've been super into Red Dead Redemption lately.
Yeah,
that's been my go-to game. I just get lost in that game. I'm more of the story. I'm more of the story game than the online, mostly because I'm not good online. So it's a little easier to do the single player.
Yeah.
I've wanted to play Red Dead so bad, but it's console only, and I don't. Well, I think I still own an Xbox. It's somewhere in my house, but it's an Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't bought a console since then. Probably never will buy one again, and it sucks because I literally had to sit down and I was talking with my wife on the couch. I was like, I'm about to spend $350 so I can play a $50 game. And then once I beat it, it's going to sit there again. She's like, absolutely not. I was like, fuck.
Right. That's exactly what I did. I just bought a PS4 just for Red Dead Redemption. And then I also got Spider-Man. I'm a huge Spider-Man.
There you go.
So I was like, it's worth it. I worked hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the PS4 exclusives are really good right now. The Spider-Man, and then I don't know if you played Detroit Become Human.
I did not know.
That one is amazing, or it looks amazing. I never actually played it, but I watched a lot of it, and it looked amazing. But obviously,
God of War.
It
won.
I've heard about that.
Was that an exclusive? That's what.
Yeah,
that was an exclusive.
Yeah, it's PlayStation only. That's why I bitched so much that a PlayStation only game won.
That's right. Yeah, you did do some bitching on that.
Yeah.
And that's, I feel like PlayStation has had way better exclusives the past few years than Xbox. Because like Xbox, their biggest one is Halo, and I've never gotten into Halo, so.
Halo's trash.
Just
I actually
offended
agree.
half of your gaming.
Yeah.
I probably did. I'm gonna get hate mail now, but I don't know. Like, I think Halo is one of the only big exclusives that PlayStation doesn't have. What was PlayStation's exclusive to counter? Was it Gears of War? That's PlayStation only, right?
You're asking
The
the
only
wrong guy.
other
The only game
the-
I know that they like their big flagship was MLB The Show, was PlayStation's big flagship exclusive game.
MLB The Show.
That's a baseball game, son.
Yeah,
I know. I know what MLB is.
yeah, because like the when 2K dropped the license, everyone was like scrambling to get the MLB baseball like licensing,
Right.
and then PlayStation was like, "We're gonna spend all the money to get that, so screw you, Xbox."
Yeah. Well,
Can I swear?
I'm-
Can I swear on your guys'
absolutely.
show? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I probably already used the F word a few times. I don't remember. It's got like, I think we've talked about this before as well, but I've tried to tailor back my language so that we can, reach a bigger audience. I don't ever want to push away somebody from listening because I swear too much, which I'm sure
Yeah.
is an actual thing. I'm sure somebody's listening to this like, he's got a potty mouth. I'm not listening anymore. And that sucks. Like, I don't ever want to push somebody away, but I can't stop. Like, it's bad.
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
interesting because we for Water Cooler Talk podcast, we have a big UK audience.
Mhm.
So like the word cunt in the US is like people like grimace at
terrible.
when you say cunt,
Right.
but in the UK they say it all the time.
All the
So
time.
I had an episode where I bleeped out cunt because I was like, oh, this seems really bad, and I got a bunch of emails from like my UK fans being like, what's wrong with that word, you stupid American? It's
You
not that
stupid
bad.
American.
They're like, you stupid American cunt, it's not that bad. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I didn't realize that. I don't want my
All
mom
right.
to be listening to this.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
You should have been like, I won't bleep it out next time. You
Yeah.
cunt.
Yeah, cunt. Yeah, my wife hates that word. Like, she knows what I really don't like somebody because I'll use that word and she just looks at me and she's like, Nathan, do not use that word. I'm like, oops.
Oops, nope, sorry. Yeah, I would never say it to someone in like a derogatory word way, like, oh, you stupid cunt. But I would say it like, oh, if I'm explaining a story or
Right.
explaining something stupid. So yeah.
Well, I'd probably call somebody that over the internet, but I probably wouldn't have the balls to call it to them in front of their
In
face.
person.
I mean,
You're
yeah.
what's wrong with Twitter.
Yeah. You're probably right. I'm what's wrong with the world, actually. So
Yeah. Just saying shit online that they wouldn't say to people's face. That's just what's
Mhm.
wrong with social
So
media.
what's wrong with it all?
I need
Yeah.
to turn the internet off.
Well, anyway, let's introduce our guest here. So,
Yeah, you rude ass.
wow, we have Adam from the Water Cooler Talk podcast. Now, obviously, we've done our research on what it
Awesome.
is, but just for our listeners and everything, tell us a little bit about what it is and what you do.
Yeah, so it's a bi-monthly comedy news podcast. Comes out every other Thursday on Spotify, and then of course all the other podcasting platforms that are out there. But like the major plot, or not even a plot, that was a stupid word to use. The major thing about it is it's about connecting the world in conversation by taking the strangest, the weirdest, the quirkiest, most bizarre, most unbelievable real life news stories the world has to offer, and kind of opening up a discussion about some of the taboo topics discussed in those stories. And we have a different guest on every episode. But for example, some things we have talked about is a man paying off his wife's medical bills by winning the lottery, and then kind of discussing about, oh, why can't people afford medical care?
Mm-hmm.
There was a story about a guy who was saved from a sexual assault conviction because he sent a selfie to his mom at the same time the assault happened. And then there's
What?
also the one that had the word cunt in it, a bride asking her family and friends for a $60,000 wedding. So it's kind of just talking about those stories with a new guest every other week and just talking about taboo things that people may not be as comfortable talking about.
That sounds so fun. I feel like
Yeah.
I would have too much fun with a podcast like that.
You'd get yourself in trouble.
I would probably get
interesting.
myself
There's,
in trouble.
I have to choose, I do all my pre-research, and I have to choose these news stories, and I'm always like, there's so many interesting news stories to talk about. It's But yeah, so it's pretty fun. I've started to get viewer submitted stories from like local
that'd be
news
fun.
stories, which is super awesome. There was like this one actually became pretty popular, but someone sent in a story. I don't know if you guys heard about this story, but it was about two Russian researchers in Antarctica. One of them stabbed the other guy because he kept like spoiling the endings of books. So we talked about that. So yeah, it's pretty interesting and fun.
I feel like if we were two scientists in Antarctica, that would be a dumb reason that you would fucking stab me for. Like, I would ruin the end of what's a book we've been reading? Well, I mean, I've been listening to R.A. Salvatore books or whatever that guy's name is with Michael. But like, if I ruin an ending to a book that you were reading, like, I feel like that would be one reason you would stab me.
Me?
Yeah,
Why would I stab
dude.
you about that?
You've gotten pissed over some of the dumbest shit I've seen in my life.
I
So,
did, yeah.
like, it's a toss up. Like, you're either gonna get mad and you're like, "Are you stupid?" Like, I don't know.
Probably to stab you right now.
Yeah, you probably
just right away. You don't even need to go to Antarctica.
Yeah, we don't need to go to Antarctica, dude.
that's fun though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, we got. I think I told you guys we had a bunch of episodes, but we did some revamping, and we have 16 episodes. So it's a good time. I have fun doing it.
Yeah, like when I was listening to it, I actually and this is a huge compliment, at least from my end. I don't know how you'll take it, but it reminds me a lot of like Radiolab, but
Okay.
more of a
Yeah.
comedy version of Radiolab. Just kind of how you have the editing with the guest. It just really reminds me of it, and I love Radiolab. So
Yeah, and we've also that is a freaking awesome comparison. We've also got compared to Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard, just kind of how the conversation flows. And yeah, it's a really good time. But yeah, that's very thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. But so since you've been doing that for a while, what would you say is your favorite like random news story that you've ever come across where you're just like, what the I mean, you probably say that every single time.
Oh man, I've gotten so used to like all these news stories and just like second nature. I don't know if I could my favorite story was the one I mentioned to you guys in the email where a guy robbed a bank with like a cat squirt bottle.
Oh
Just
my
so he could
God.
go to jail because he was like behind on his rent. He was like in debt. He was like, "Oh, the only situation I can do is go to jail." So he tried to rob a bank with a cat squirt gun. And the reason I like that one so much is because like you'll maybe have to bleep some of this out, but like I've been like everyone would want to rob a bank, right? Like I
Right.
want to just like rob a small town bank when I'm like 60 or 70 later in life. I mean, make sure to bleep some of that information out so the FBI is not so aware on it. But yeah, so that was really cool to kind of see that. But that was like the first story that really kind of skyrocketed like what I was doing with talking about taboo topics. So with my guests, we talked about kind of this guy's mental health. And that was like the first time we had really talked about a super taboo topic like mental health. No one talks about mental health. So it's really cool to have this really productive discussion around mental health based around this guy trying to rob a bank with a cat squirt gun. And he was also wearing this like one of those yellow raincoats, like one of those like iconic yellow raincoats. So it must have been like a sight to see for these bank tellers to be like, what the hell is happening right now?
What are you doing? Like, let me give you money, actually, like, because this is pathetic. Actually, I think it's mainly with my younger brother while I've been at work, but I feel like I've had this conversation with people in the past. Maybe it wasn't Michael, maybe it was my buddy I used to work out with, but we were going over what the people in the prison system have. They have 3 meals a day, and they're not like the crummiest of meals. I would say they're probably my local school's lunches. Like they're not bad. They're not the best, but they're not like, canned soup every day. So they get 3 meals a day. They get unlimited or not unlimited. They don't have anything unlimited. They get time to exercise. They get their exercise time. They get TV now. They have access to the internet, unless you're like at some high security prison for like mass murdering 13,000 people. Like you've got it going. Okay, sure, you got to watch your butt in the shower every now and then, but like they've got it. They've got their personal room. They have somebody that cleans up after them. Unless it's their week to do laundry, somebody's cleaning their clothes, cleaning their sheets. they have it made. They're just locked inside of a brick wall.
Yeah,
And
we even had a story recently where in South Korea, people are literally paying to go to prison to get time off from work.
right, well, I mean, we're basically this is going to sound so terrible, and I probably really don't feel this way except for I don't let me just spit it out here. So, it's almost like in America we're in indentured servitude. We're born, we're taught for 12 years or however long that is. I think it's longer than that, but we go through school for 12 years to be told the entire time that once you're done with school, if you don't go and pay to continue your education, you're a loser and you're not going anywhere in life. And then they put you into debt with college that when you graduate, most people cannot get a job to be able to afford to pay college tuition and live a decent life, having your own house, having a car without being behind for the next 40 years. Like who
No,
like
yeah,
it's
I definitely agree with you on that. That's the reason I left college after my freshman year. I have friends who went to school and they're, 180 to $200,000 in debt. It's
oh fuck.
like yeah, it's like what are you supposed to do? Now you have to work the rest of your life to pay that off. I mean, granted they're engineers and they'll make fantastic
Right.
money, but still you have to work for the next 40 years. I mean, and it's just like what kind of life is that?
Might as well go to prison. Like that is literally what that guy had to have been thinking. Like I've got nothing better to do. I'm
Mhm.
tired of not having money. Living like a bum, I'll go live in jail. Like I get it. Like as effed up as that situation is, like I understand where that guy's coming from and why he did that.
Yeah,
And
no,
co-
like I talked about in the episode, I totally understood. Yeah, exactly what you were saying. I totally agree with that. It's like if you have nothing else, I mean, obviously, there's plenty of programs out there, but sometimes those programs are really hard to find.
Right. Well, programs for what? Like
Well,
helping get
programs
out of
for
debt
yeah,
or
helping get out of debt, helping you get into like this guy was losing his house, helping you get into like a shelter, helping you get fed, stuff like that. But the reason like you don't see that in TV and movies and shows all the time, so you're not used to it, you're not
right.
normalized to it. Where prison, you're seeing that all the time. Every other show, there's a prison mentioned. So you're more normalized to that. So oh yeah, there's prison. I don't know about these other programs because no one ever talks about them, but I do know about prison. That's the
Is
kind
that
of
not sad though?
it
That
is. It's very sad.
like literally what you just said made me realize that if you don't see it in TV or read about it on the news, like you don't know shit exists anymore.
Hmm.
And we were just having that conversation beforehand. We'll probably get into this, but the whole was it Cecil the Lion thing?
yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Asin was like, he's like, I have to look up part of this because I don't want to sound like a
Yeah.
dumbass because it was like a huge thing.
It was
I
a
remember it, but I don't
huge
remember
thing.
it. Like,
When it also happened, the guy, the dentist who shot Cecil, also came from Minnesota, where I'm from. So it was a huge
Oh,
Oh,
thing.
there you
okay.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't watch the news anymore. So unless I see it on Facebook or I hear about it on Twitter or somebody tells me through Discord, like I'm completely cut off from what's going on in the world because like I got so tired of just the uh what is the word I'm looking for? Rampant discourse. Like it was making me depressed watching the news that I just unplugged myself from mainstream media.
Well, yeah, and
So
that's because we have this 24-hour news cycle that it's only about ratings. They don't care about telling good stories. It's only about
yeah,
like you turn on the news and it's like somebody got shot, somebody got kidnapped, a store got robbed. Oh, there's a kitten fashion show. Somebody got shot, somebody got shot again. And it's like we're in one of the most peaceful times in history, and our 24-hour news cycle is just constantly bad things. So people are always
yeah,
thinking like we're in such a bad time. Oh, there's protests in the street. There's, the rise of the Nazis again. It's like, yeah, those are all bad things, but it's been so much worse. We're actually
yeah,
in a very good time. You can go to the store at midnight and get back home and feel safe, somewhat safe, but feel safe that you're not going to get something bad's not going to happen to you. So yeah, it's interesting. Not the biggest fan of the 24-hour news cycle, but
yeah.
you know, what can you do?
Nathan's like one step away from like building a fucking bunker in his backyard
What do you mean?
and like
It's
closing
already
himself,
back there.
closing himself off from the world. I'm gonna go ahead and just call 911 now before you like go to jail on your own accord.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting life we live.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a crazy news story though, and crazy that people would actually do that to go to jail.
I could come up with such better ways to make myself like get arrested instead of robbing a bank with a squirt gun. I don't know.
Well,
I
it'd be
could come.
pretty cool. Like if you get into jail, it'd be like, "What you in for, man?" It'd be like, "Robbed a bank." You don't have to tell them the details.
Dude, they're gonna find out you robbed it with a squirt gun, and then they're gonna beat your ass. So
They'll be like, or they'll be like, "That guy's ballsy. I like it."
That guy's ballsy.
they probably be like, yeah, he's fucking lost it. Like, stay away from that guy.
I tried to rob a bank with my finger gun.
That only happens in the movies, dude, where they stick their finger in their pocket and like shove it forward.
Oh,
Like,
no,
I would be
there's been some like security cam footage where you can clearly see like the guy enters the bank, he puts his hand under his shirt, and then walks up to the teller.
like I would just reach out and punch his finger. Like I'd be the guy that did that, like reach around, punch his finger, and it's actually a gun, and then he would kill me. But that would be my luck.
I remember I worked at where was it? I worked at Caribou for a little bit, and like one of the things in training, they said if anyone tries to rob you, just let them have it. Don't try to be the hero. Don't try to get shot. And I was like, I am not going to protect Caribou for minimum wage. So I totally agree with that.
I'd be like, wait, let me go to the back, see if there's a way for me to open the safe, and I'll actually give you everything.
I will be more helpful to this person.
Yeah, exactly. Be like, here, let me help you out. There was a news story though that I saw. I don't remember the details other than like the clerk that he was robbing. Like some dude robbed a convenience store, and the clerk asked what his name was, and he handed over his ID.
What the?
The robber gave him his ID?
Yes.
Jeez.
Like he didn't know or something. Like he didn't realize what he was doing. And I would have to look at the news story again, but I was like, Jesus Christ, there's some idiots.
Well, I mean that kind of makes sense. I was on a live PD binge this morning. Like it's kind of like the updated version of Cops, and there are just some stupid people. This guy was like, the cop was like, "Hey sir, is this crack?" And she's like, "No, that's not crack." And he's like, "We just tested and it says it's crack." And she's like, "No, I don't think it's crack." And he's like, "I'm gonna have to arrest you because it's crack." And she's like, "For what?" He's like,
God.
"It's crack." Like the cop was just like, "Is this woman so stupid?" And it was just, ugh. So I can definitely see that there are very dumb people there in the world.
Yeah.
I think Tulsa, which is close to where we live in Oklahoma, I think they have an episode on that new live PD from Tulsa, and I remember watching some clips of it, and it was pretty funny. Like I was like, those are the derelicts that are just here in Oklahoma. Like there's, like. I like to think that Oklahoma is one of the nicer states you'll probably ever go to. Like if your car breaks down on the side of the road, you're probably more likely to have somebody stop and help you in Oklahoma than you are to say in. I'm throwing out a really cringy state, but California, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying that because I've only been to California once years ago.
Well, let's use Iowa. Iowa's my least favorite state. So. I'm more than happy to throw them under the bus.
My younger brother actually attended college for a couple years in Iowa, so I could probably go ask him.
What a bad decision,
man. Dude, it's so bad. Like, I could go into stories that he's told me about the college, but yeah, like I feel like here, if you break down, somebody's gonna pull over and help you, whereas other places they're not. But there are some absolute fucking idiots that live in this state for sure. So.
Yeah, I mean, didn't the viral video came out of Tulsa? The one that's like that lady that's like, "Ain't nobody got time for that." That's from Tulsa,
Was
Oklahoma.
That from Tulsa?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if it's from Tulsa, but I think it is from Oklahoma.
I think she like has a really nice job now. I think they like did a meme update like ever so many years later, and she has like a nice job and she's well put together. And
I mean, if you go viral like that, you better get your shit together.
Yeah, definitely.
You know. Like
I remember hearing her on a commercial for this is going to sound really dumb, but I think it was for bronchitis medicine, and she was promoting like an inhaler or something. Excuse me, and she probably made way more money than what she needed to make for that. But like going viral is one of the quickest ways for riches and fame these days is to go viral on YouTube or the internet, and then boom. As long as you're willing to take that and run with it, like you're set, you're done.
Oh yeah, and it kind of sucks because that's become so popular. Like, oh, I'm gonna get viral on YouTube, I'm gonna be famous. So now, like, I work with artists, musical acts, bands, and stuff with their marketing and PR, and they're always like, "Yo, dude, we just need that one viral video. We just need to do one crazy thing, and that's all we need." I'm like, well, why don't we just be smart about it? That
Right.
viral videos are 1 in a million. So if you're always like spending your money in marketing trying to get a viral video, you're just gonna be disappointed. So let's be a lot smarter about what we're doing here.
Well, that's also how you end up drunk on top of a staircase with a bottle of liquor and a sled, pouring alcohol into a sled, lighting it on fire, and then riding it down your stairs and catching your house on fire. Like, I guarantee you that's how that whole thing started. Like, bro, let's make a cool, badass YouTube video and go viral. And then he burned his fucking house down. Like, that's how that happens. Like,
But then, it went viral.
yeah, but he lost his. He's probably not making any more YouTube videos. Like, it probably burned the neighbor's house down, and he's probably in jail. But
Well, the biggest thing is if you have, and this is for any content creator out there, if you have decent content and you do get that one viral video, that is all you need because your
Yeah, it's
decent
true.
content will keep you afloat. Now, for people that are just trying to do the viral video but have no content to back that up, like, you're in for some disappointing times. Like, yeah, one of your videos might go viral, but then like it'll just wane off. So it's really just building up that foundation, and you know, uh, having that formula of luck. The preparedness meets opportunity. So as long as you're prepared, if the opportunity comes around, then that's how you should get yourself together.
that's like business luck. Like, there's two different types of luck. Being prepared and then falling into the situation where you're prepared. The situation comes along and you can take it and run with it. But there's also dumb luck. There's just dumb luck. Like
Well, yeah,
you're crossing the street and the guy behind you gets run over by a car, and you don't. Like, you're not prepared for that.
sure you are.
Anyways, that can go off in a stupid topic, but like there's people that get lucky that aren't prepared, and it goes, like, it works out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you look at someone like Justin Bieber or Shawn Mendes, who they're both good singers. I mean, regardless of what people think of them
Yeah.
as people, they're both very good singers. They started on YouTube and they started to get popular, and they had a few viral hits. But they, like you had mentioned, they were good enough to where they could continue to make good
Right.
music. They could continue to make that high quality of content. Whereas you have someone like the Honey Badger guy. I don't know if you guys remember
Oh
that
my
Honey
God,
Badger video.
yes.
Yeah.
But that went crazy viral, and now ever since he tries to recreate that video, it's shit content, and no one really cares. No one really
Right.
cares. But
Yeah.
he's always going to be remembered as the Honey Badger guy. So
Mhm.
Right. I mean, like, with the amount of people that see true success and continued success, how many one-hit wonders do you hear? Like,
mhm.
they come and go all the time. One-hit wonders. Like, there's so many artists on the radio that you hear once, and then 50 years down, you're like, whatever happened to that one person? It was just that one-hit wonder.
Yeah,
Just,
I think VH1 used to have like a series where they would like, what's that one hit wonder doing these days?
yeah, like
Working at Walgreens, probably.
okay, Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah.
What else has he produced other than I don't know,
I
Baby
know.
Got Back?
Is that what
Yeah, Baby Got Back.
that was his song?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can see him in my head, and I was trying to start like playing a tune in my head of his, and I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, you want me to
Mhm.
tell you?
Huh.
Okay, I was in when I lived in Seattle. I was in traffic. I had the radio on. Geico commercial. Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Oh no. So he went from making probably millions of dollars on that one song to doing Geico commercials.
Well, it
I
wasn't.
remember he was really bad with his money management. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people stole money from him.
And this, hold on, this comes full circle.
All right, let's
This
hear it.
comes full circle back to when we're younger. School needs to be more about preparing ourselves for life.
It's true.
Because like we don't learn, like honestly, like when you go to college, anything you learn in high school is like very minimal to what matters in your life. Other than if you're in some kind of like, if you're in a math specialization, like if you're an engineer, sure, you're going to need every single piece of math knowledge you learned. But majority of jobs, you don't need to know algebra whatsoever. I've never used algebra since high school.
I don't even remember what algebra was. I just know what math is.
Yeah, I remember taking calculus, and I was like, I have never used calculus in my life. But oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, calculus, is that the sine, cosine, tangent? Like, is that what all that revolves around?
I think, yeah.
Yeah. See, I couldn't even
Or
tell you that.
integers, or yeah, but like I'm a really bad spender. I have my own business, and I like spend stupidly. Like I bought a bidet a month ago. So that would have been nice in high school to have like a money management class. But
Dude,
yeah.
bidet, how is it?
Yeah, how is that?
It's completely changed my life. Like in such a good way. I recommend it to just about everyone I talk to. I try to fit it into every single conversation.
Dude, I don't know if you listen. Do you listen to a lot of podcasts?
I try to. I try to be a part of the community, but I mean, I'm busy.
Because two of the podcasts I listen to quite often is Your Mom's House with Tom Segura and his wife, Christina P. And then another one is H3H3.
I listen to H3H3, yeah.
And when they both have talked about bidets, and when H3 had Tom Segura and his wife on their podcast, they talked about bidets, and like all this talk of bidets, and now you saying it, I need to get one. I need to have water
all your
squirted in my
listeners
butthole.
used to get one. Like I have like a cheaper version because there's like a version for like $340. It like
Good Lord.
had a heated seat, warm water, it's got different controls, memory controls. I just got like a cheap $20 one that just shoots cold water. And honestly, it's like a good wake up. It's just like, woo, all right, ready to go for the day. Super clean. I know I'm clean. Let's just do it.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I would need one that like oscillates like forward and backwards. Like, cause my butt looks like my back. It's like a gorilla.
God.
Like it's bad.
Oh no.
And dude, toilet paper is just not enough anymore. Like I had to go the wet wipe route. Otherwise, like 15, 20, 30 minutes later, like if I'm being like, if I'm doing activities, like I'm having to move around, pick stuff up, like I'm getting swamp ass, and it's turning into mud butt. You have to go wipe route. Like
somebody explained it to me, like you don't clean your dirty dishes with like a dry rag or something. It's like that totally makes sense.
That makes so much sense.
Or you don't like try to wash your muddy driveway with a towel.
I'm gonna have to go buy a bidet now.
Yeah.
They build them into toilets, I think. Like you can buy like a toilet that is a bidet.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, mine. I just got $21 on Amazon. It took me like 15 minutes to set up, and it's completely changed my life for the better.
Oh my God.
What's odd is like they're really common in other parts of the world. Because when I'm from Bulgaria, and when I visited in 2014, I went into a bathroom. I was like, "There's no toilet paper," and I was like, "What? What am I supposed to do?" And I like see this like lever on the side.
Oh my God.
And then there's this like little metal pipe inside the toilet, and I'm like, oh God, what is this? Pull a lever, and then boom, water.
Okay, so if you use the bidet, it's spraying water up there, it's cleaning everything out. I feel like you still need to dry it out.
Of course.
Yeah, you still have to dry it out.
So what are you using the towel that you dry your hands with?
No,
Like,
you
don't
can
have
still
toilet paper?
still use toilet paper. I still.
I
use
know.
toilet
I'm just saying.
paper.
He's just asking in that situation what I did.
Oh yeah.
I walked back out with swamp ass. Dude.
Just with water dripping out your butt.
Yeah,
Dude,
dude.
I couldn't do it. Oh,
Well, what else was I supposed to do?
dude,
That's true. Yeah, there's nothing else to do.
What am I gonna do? Like take one of their towels?
dude, I probably would have pulled my underwear off, wiped with my underwear, and threw it away, and then left and just freeballed it the rest of the day. I hate swamp ass. Like when it's summertime and I'm having to be outside, like I'm going in and out like every 20 minutes, drying out and coming back out. Otherwise, like, dude, chafing is terrible.
Have you ever shaved your ass?
No,
I haven't.
dude, my farts would clap to the world and back. Like they would hear it next door. It wouldn't be good.
Oh man.
Actually, like my brother actually told me that because he has,
Mhm.
and he said that he, for the life of him, cannot hold, like he can't hide a
You can't
fart.
hide it. Like it's clapping. Like everybody around is hearing about it.
The
Yeah, like-
control on the farts has gone way down.
Yeah. Well, like the hair is like almost having like one of these
Soundproofing.
sound, yeah, like on your mic, It's almost like having a fucking what's the S-proof, soundproof thing?
Your pop filter,
That's the word that I was
That's
looking
windscreen.
for. Windscreen. It's almost like having one of those in your butthole.
Like, I think the reason why I've never done it is because we've all manscaped before,
Mhm.
and it like the itchy, like the 4 or 5 days later, like pulling on your underwear, your briefs, whatever you're wearing, like that is the worst feeling of prickle ever. I could not imagine walking around with prickly butt. Like that would just be terrible.
Yeah.
Like you would have to continuously shave it like every day, and that's just too much of a task for me to remember.
That's way too much work. And I'm a bearded man, so
Mhm.
whenever I shave it, first off, I'm like, that's the worst decision I ever made in my life.
Yeah,
But also
every
just
time.
like that feeling is just not something I enjoy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I let my beard go about 3 to 4 months, and then I probably shave quarterly. So
Okay.
I have the scruff that comes out, and then every 3 to 4 months I'll shave it off. But I never go baby face because my wife hates it, and I look like a fat 2-year-old. So I just use like hair clippers and like bare blade it without a guard on there, and that's just what I shave it down to, so that there's always stubble on my face because I look horrid without it. Uh, but there's no way I could do that between my cheeks. Like that's terrible. Like I feel like I would end up cutting myself way more than what it would be worth. So
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm like, I could never be a woman because I would just not want to shave. I would just be
Ugh.
like, this is such,
Yeah.
like, I give women so much props for constantly shaving and
absolutely.
doing stuff like that. And I'm just
I
like,
mean,
I could never.
even when you think of the guys that shave every day for like their jobs, like skin, to the skin every single morning, how
Mhm.
much time are they wasting in a week?
Well, yeah, you have to think
or
of
in a
someone
month?
like Michael Phelps, like, who has to pretty much
Yeah,
shave off
he has
everything all the time.
he has to become a dolphin.
I feel like he's rich enough now to where he can just get someone else to do it for him.
just dunk his ass in a tank or something. He probably just like submerges himself down in a tank and comes out clean. Well, they have that shower and air stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah,
this is
that's true.
this is going way off topic. But back in my bodybuilding, well, I wouldn't call it bodybuilding days. But like I shaved everything because it was all about, seeing the definition. And when there's no
Listen.
hair anywhere, you can really see the veins coming out. You can see the striations and the muscles and so forth. Well, I have super sensitive skin. And my wife, which was my girlfriend at the time, she was like, "Oh, try the shower nair stuff." I think I said that right. Nair?
Yeah.
Shower nair? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, "You just rub it on in the shower and you just wipe it off with a rag." I was like, "Oh, okay." Well, I wasn't thinking about sensitive skin. And I read on the bottle, it was like, "Doesn't burn." I was like, "Cool, dude. We're chilling." So I put this stuff on my arm and I wipe it off. And I get out of the shower and I look in the mirror and I look like a lobster. Like I just had like degree burns. It burns so fucking bad. Now, I don't know if that's because I have sensitive skin or that stuff. Like it's a chemical react. It's just melting, sloughing hair off of your
Well,
body.
Nair, you're not supposed to put it on your skin.
What do you mean?
You're supposed to like kind of soak the hairs on top, and then you're supposed to kind of like wipe them off. Because it doesn't matter if you have sensitive skin or not; it's going to burn your skin.
Well, it was specifically called shower nair, and it was a foam that you just rub on your.
Well,
your
obviously
arm.
it didn't work.
And
So.
it did work. My hair came off like I was bare naked baby, but it burned like a sumbitch. Like it was bad.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so Adam, so now like as like for a living, you say you do like music videos, marketing, things like that. Tell us a little bit more about like that side.
Yeah, so I really more of like a PR kind of marketing thing. So I was doing music videos and then I realized I was giving these music videos to these artists and they didn't know how to like properly market them. They would just
Hmm.
post it on YouTube, post it on Facebook, post it on Instagram, whatever, and they would get, good views, but I was like, you know what, they could get so many more views. They could get show opportunities from this. They could get people wanting them to be featured on an album, stuff of that nature. So I was like, you know what? I've always kind of like since I left college, I kind of have been in like the marketing atmosphere, kind of working in that, trying to sell my products,
Hmm.
Hmm.
different things we can talk about later. But I was like, you know what? Let me take what I've learned personally and apply it to these guys. So I flipped, I still make music videos. I'm working on 2 music videos right now. But now I also include like a marketing campaign. So for one band I'm working with now, I'm doing the marketing campaign for their newest single from their new album, and we're gonna try to get that marketed onto the Billboard's charts.
Nice.
So that's kind of what I've been doing for I don't almost coming up on a year, and it's really funny. I was never like really a music guy. I can't play any musical instruments whatsoever. But it's been pretty cool to see that other side of music. I get to go to a lot of concerts. I get to meet a lot of different bands. Like my one like on my bucket list is to go on tour with a band. So that's hopefully coming up in 2019. But it's just super fun to meet these really creative people and to be able to help them sell themselves and really lock down their visual identity, because that's the number one thing that people just anybody, even in the podcasting world, people just have trouble locking down. How do I get that niche market? How do I be unique compared to everyone else? And that's kind of where I come in and help them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's definitely for any kind of content creator. That's something that's hard to grasp, just because you try to market yourself on like social media like Twitter, and then you don't know what to hashtag, or if you
Hmm.
should hashtag, or what you should say, or any of that stuff, especially with like tags on YouTube. Who knows how to actually work their system,
Yeah,
and
and that
no one.
whole SEO is just no one understands SEO.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. So
There you go.
so there you go. So yeah, I mean, there's just so many factors to getting your video or your content to the front page so that people are seeing it. Um, and my oldest brother is a digital marketer, and I still don't understand how it really works. And every time he tries to explain it, it just doesn't compute. So
Yeah, and one of the things like I provide, like I had a background. I went to school at Colorado State for a year for zoology and animal behavior because I was like really interested in why does an animal do this? Why does a lion think the way a lion thinks? Why does a dog think the way a dog thinks? So like what I bring to the table a lot is like talking about the subconscious mind. Like the best example I can give is like when you think about Coke and Pepsi. Coke is red, Pepsi is blue. There's a reason why Coke sells better in winter compared to Pepsi selling better in summer, because when we're hot in summer, we want something cold. Blue is associated
mm,
with cool. We buy Pepsi. So,
That's
like,
crazy.
yeah, it's insane. And when I break it down to these bands and artists, they're like, "Holy shit!" Like, I was a consultant on this fundraiser, and like this band was not raising any money. They were like, what the heck is happening? And on the first thing you see when you go to their fundraiser is this really cool photo of the band, but none of them are smiling. So it's a really
Yep.
cold picture. It's like, oh, that's the first thing I see from you guys wanting to ask for money. I'm gonna be turned off. So I was like, take a picture of you guys smiling. That's all you need, and it'll completely change the amount of money you make. And oh, turns out that they're actually doing really well fundraising, because the first thing someone sees is a smile. They're going to be more receptive to giving money.
yeah, I bet that would help for marketing a
Hmm.
lot,
And
is
it helps
knowing
like
how that works.
understand like yeah, why somebody wants to buy something. I know, for example, if you want to sell a Mexican beer in a liquor store, you're going to have Mexican music playing in that section. So it's really cool. I really like studying the mind and the subconscious mind, and then also using that in my kind of everyday.
That's pretty cool. Like, that's way far beyond what I need to try and do with my brain on a daily basis. Like, I would just be exhausted by the time I went to bed.
Yeah, it's like what we talked about with school. It's like I didn't go to school for this. I just learned from YouTube videos, just like reading books, just all on my own. So it's entirely possible to do whatever you want to do. It definitely takes a lot of fucking hard work. I will say that right away. But yeah, you don't need to spend so much money in school.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. A lot of people, I mean, we've talked to several people on this podcast that actually a lot, most I would say, are just self starters that have started something on their own and they're seeing success because they're just putting the work in and they don't necessarily have any time in school.
Hmm.
So that's not to tell everyone like still
No, I mean,
go to
yeah,
school,
definitely.
kids,
If you want to
but
go to school, go to school. But if
yeah,
you feel like it's not your thing, don't feel bad for
Yeah,
not
right.
wanting to go.
don't let society, and this is going to probably push a wedge between some people, and it definitely drove a wedge between me and my parents. But don't let society or your parents or anything, but don't let them force you to do that just because that's what they think you need to do. um be your own person. Like, if you don't want to go to college, you don't want to learn to be a doctor or a lawyer or any of that kind of stuff that you have to go to college for. There are plenty of successful people in this world that are self-starters, entrepreneurs, that don't have any college at all. uh, y- Going to college, I think, is probably what I would call the safer option. Like, if you want to be uh, in that general percentage of people that they wake up in the morning, they go to a job that they hate, and they come home and this is going to sound terrible, but they're living a lifestyle that they hate. They're in a marriage that they're not comfortable with. It all kind of comes back to those decisions you make when you leave high school. Because I feel like a lot of marriage, this is going to go into a bad topic, but a lot of like marriage issues is financial. And
Mhm.
financial stems from, like we talked about earlier, being $200,000 in debt for the next 40 years because you went to college because somebody told you that's what you needed to do. Um, so don't let somebody pressure you into going to school. If you want to go to school, you want to be a doctor, you have to, of course. I don't know that I would ever go to a doctor that's a self starter. Like, that just sounds dangerous. Um, but do your own thing. But just make sure whatever you're doing, you put everything into it and you make it happen. That sounds really cliche, but yeah.
No, no, that I mean totally makes sense. And even like using the example of the subconscious mind in America, we grew up in this ideal world where the man brings home the money and the
Right.
woman
Mhm.
takes care of the kids. So, like, as a man, and this is why men have a higher suicide rate, is because in our subconscious mind, we have to be the breadwinner. We have to bring home the money. We have to support the family, we have to protect the family. And when we can't do that, you mentioned, most marriages break down because of financial things. A man's like, he's probably having other things, but in the back of his mind, he's like, well, I'm not being the man that I
Right.
watched growing up. So my life sucks, it'd probably be easier just to end it. So it's definitely, I always like argue against college, but or student loans more. I'm more against
Right.
student loans. I'm not against college, I'm against student loans. But I will say, like, going to college was probably the smartest decision in my life because I was able to figure out what I really wanted. It costed a lot. It costed $24,000.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But I know exactly what I wanted to do. I would never have started Roar for Change if I didn't go to college because that was just, yeah, like you said, that was just what I knew I had to do next. So, boom, there it was. But yeah, I don't regret going to college. I don't regret anything in my life, but I'm very happy I went to college. And I think it was a big part of who I am today.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. I never finished college, but I went and I'm just a little over what you have and left in debt, but I'm at 29,000. But like it's taught me a lot of things. It's kind of uh, put me on a path of, what I really want to do. Cause I don't think like coming out of high school, no one really knows what they want to do.
I can agree
Hmm.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even if
no.
someone thinks they do, like, okay, so this is my story. In my senior year of high school, um, I was kind of ahead of like all the credits I needed. So all I had to take in high school was English. Or sorry, not in high school, but my senior year. So the other hours, we had this program where you could go to college, and I took an animation class because I was really interested in 3D animation uh, and all that. So I took that class. We went to a competition. We won our state competition. We went to nationals in California for animation, and we placed 14th out of all 50 states. And I was like, man, this is it. I got 14th nationally. This is something. I'm going to go on that. I enjoy doing it. I get into I get into college, and 2 years in, I just realized how shitty the job market is for animators. How like pretty much animators, their job market is like an actor. Uh, an actor does many different jobs, but they use the same actors for those movies or whatever.
Yep.
It's the same with animators. Like you'll see an animator that's working for Disney, but he might also work on like a CGI Batman movie. It's that they're just kind of trading those people back and forth. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't go into that market, but if you do go into that market, you have to be the best of the best. And I just didn't think I had the capability because I don't have like natural drawing talent. So it's just you figure out a lot of things along the way like that, and that's just something that it taught me. But now I at least have a lot of like graphic design knowledge, and everything else that I've done in college. I have that knowledge, so I did take something away from it. That's the important part.
You took away that you have no talent, so
Yeah,
I'm glad you finally understand that.
Yeah,
Please replay that in your mind whenever you look at me. I have no talent. I have no talent.
I paid $29,000 for that answer.
Hey, it was, I mean, and that's a lot of money, but it's like, look where I am today. Was it? I would easily pay $24,000 to be where I am today. So
Maybe
I don't know
that's what
yet.
I'm missing.
Not yet for me. I'm not to that point yet. But
I have a couple years to go.
Yeah. Like at least now I've definitely learned who I am as a person and where I want to go. So, all I can see in the future for me is good things. So we'll see. We'll see where everything goes. But
it's because you met me.
Yeah.
The future and good. Yeah.
No, you're not.
Wow.
I'm still gonna stab you after this.
All right, but
But anyway, Adam, we've pretty much almost hit an hour. There's definitely a lot more we wanted to bring up, but there's always other episodes we can bring you back on.
Yeah, always a part two.
Yeah, always a part two. But we're going to go into our random question of the day segment to start closing things out.
Let's do it.
And this one's really easy since you are our New Year's episode that's going to be coming out.
Awesome.
The random question is, what is your New Year's resolution?
Oh, man. Do you want like a serious one or?
Whatever you want to say, dude.
You can have multiple. It can be silly. It can be stupid. It doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, the biggest one for me is just to be more financially smarter, like not buying bidets just because I couldn't buy a bidet.
Hey, it was $20. That was a smart decision. You didn't spend a lot.
Oh man, that's a good question. This is funny because our New Year's resolution or our New Year's episode, we talked about New Year's resolutions being stupid.
Well, there you go.
So I'll be very hypocritical.
I agree actually. So
let me see.
What I like to call them, New Year's resolutions are stupid. How about some life goals?
Yeah, life goals.
Exactly.
My goal for 2019 is, so I want to pretty much my business is mobile, but I want to make it as mobile as possible. I want to make the podcast mobile. So I want to get a van, kind of do the converting and then travel around the US.
That'd be dope.
Because I did, some traveling with a documentary I did, and that was super fun. So I would like to do that again for a few years, travel around the U.S., actually, have a meet guests for podcasts, and oh, I'm in New York. Let me find some guests in New York or stuff like that. Because I feel like my business is, I can do that wherever I go. I can find music acts, bands, artists wherever I go, and I feel comfortable in my abilities. So, yeah, that's a goal for 2019 is to get a van, convert it, and then get back on the road.
Just don't get a white van. That'd be kind of weird.
Please.
In high school, I was in a band for one song, and our band name was Free Candy.
Oh.
And we made a music video for the summer of '69. So yeah,
Nice.
that's probably out there somewhere in the world.
Free Candy.
You have to paint that on your van, by the way.
Yeah.
That's the only thing to paint on.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. Like when I say New Year's resolution, in my head, I completely like think what is my goal for that year.
I roll my eyes when people say New Year's resolutions.
Yeah,
Right.
because the story mentioned that most New Year's resolutions are they fail by January 12th. So if
can
you're
see
doing your New Year's resolution after January 12th, there's a good chance you'll be able to continue it.
Yeah. I mean, that's about how long it takes for you to make a habit of something. Is that like that 12, few weeks before you make a habit of something. So if you can't keep with it for those 2 weeks, you just fail within the first 12 days.
Yeah, it's and even like that, I was like, oh shit, that makes sense because like I know in my marketing brain, it's like you never release anything new after the first 3 weeks or in the first 3 weeks of January because people are trying all these new things. So it's like you're gonna get lost in the crowd. So wait till the end of January to release new things. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, one of our goals as a podcast is to get live on Twitch by the end of the year. So hopefully we can make that happen. And we will make that happen.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I think this is for Nathan and I both, is we need to hit the gym. And this sounds like a typical New Year's resolution.
Fat American New Year's resolution.
But if we started our live Twitch right now, oh man.
It would not be a good view.
No, I've been married for almost 6 years, and I haven't been to the gym much in those 6 years.
It would quickly turn into the cold one with the walruses.
Hey, if you guys don't start working out, that's a good name.
There we go. You figured it out.
The cold one with the walruses.
Rebranding.
Our logo will be like a walrus on a cold iceberg.
Makes me think of that Family Guy episode where he was wearing like the Daisy Duke shorts.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody was like, you look like a walrus or something. I don't know.
Your ass looks like a walrus flossing. That's what it was. Anyway, Adam, I had a ton of fun, man. I hope you did as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to hopefully be back on. I can leave a little teaser for maybe another time if you guys want me to.
Yeah, go
absolutely.
ahead.
When I did travel around the U.S. making this documentary, I was rejected by Canada. You'll have to wait next time to find out why.
There you go.
Fucking Mounties, dude.
Mounties. If people wanted to come watch you, check out the podcast or check out your content, where can they do that?
The best way is we have an exclusive kind of deal with Spotify, so you can check us out on Spotify at Water Cooler Talk Podcast. We're on PodBean the same network you guys are on, so you can find us on PodBean at Water Cooler Talk Podcast or on Instagram at Water Cooler Talk Pod.
All right, there it is. All right, guys. Well, we will see you next week.
Goodbye.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Thank you so much for listening to the episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and even if you didn't, we would love to hear your feedback, which can be sent to coldonepodcast@gmail.com or leave us a review on iTunes. It helps us gauge how we can make this podcast better for your enjoyment. If you would like to contact us, you can do that through our email or follow us on social media, which is at Cold One Podcast for Twitter and Facebook. We are now on Spotify as well as most podcast apps in existence, but if you prefer to listen to it online, head on over to our website, actionsperminute.net, for the latest episodes, a link to the APM Network Discord, or to check out any of our APM sponsored streamers. And lastly, if you like what we do, tell your friends and spread the good word. Thank you again, and remember, don't drink and drive.